Lovestown. Thank you for joining me for this week's overview on the I Ching Cafe. And of course, this week is the week commencing the 15th of June. So let's get into looking at what the I Ching is asking us to pay attention to really focus on for this week. And of course, our goal is to really focus our energy and really accelerate our growth. Because if we can grow, we can contribute more, we can accelerate our potential, we can make our lives happier, and we can make people happier around us. So we're very focused on this channel on learning how to think about serving others, how to grow so we can do more for others and for our planet as a whole. So if that resonates with you, if you're looking for some advice and guidance on a weekly and a monthly basis to help you do that, then we can do that all together. Great. Keep coming back and make sure you subscribe to make sure you get the episodes as they come out. So a recap from last week, we had Hexagram 15, modesty, balance, adjusting, making things level, being focused on really paying attention to the things we're offering, the service we're bringing, even if we feel it's small and insignificant, to bring ourselves to the story. And we rounded off the week working on what has been spoiled. Where are the weeds that you have been drawn to focus on? So I spent a big part of the week working on a website that needed some TLC. So I was thinking about this hexagram a lot. So how did that go for you this past week? Right, so let's have a look at the week that is with us, the 15th of June. And our first hexagram for this week is hexagram 8, called holding, or holding together. And this hexagram, if you look at the structure, you'll see there's water on the top over earth. It is a symbol of the many rivers merging and coming together and being held together by the earth. The concentration of forces, the grouping of these rivers, and the coalescing of their flow into one place held by the earth. This is a very interesting week for us because the main hexagram, the changing line, the outcome hexagram, all speak very strongly to a very similar theme of leadership, of help, of choosing help, and choosing what we use as help in our lives and our businesses. So let's unpack this a little bit more. In holding, the idea of holding is this idea of really rethinking about our groups, the partners we associate with, and how we work with others, how we unite with others around a common goal, a common purpose, around a leader, perhaps as us too, to achieve something really important. So there are two main things I want you to think about and focus on this week, what I feel the I Ching is calling us to pay attention to. We are likely this week to find ourselves in circumstances where we have to pull together, where we have to unite those rivers. Remember the rivers coming together and held by the earth, where we have to do the work of working with others and removing obstacles in being the leader or supporting the leader or rallying, joining together and grouping together and working together for a shared outcome. Beautiful, lovely energy for us to work with. Part of that is also thinking about who do I group myself with? And this week, and we'll get to the changing line, it really emphasizes this point, is who do I associate with? So the things we think about this week are things like the partnerships in our business, the associations, the clients, the parties, the network, whatever are these groups for you. Might even be a sewing club or a book club, whatever it might be. These are groups of people we associate with. And our task, when we get this hexagram, is to challenge our thinking around re-looking at this set of groups we associate with and saying, what are the groups that are meaningful and I want to build a deeper intimacy with in my life? And which are the groups that are superficial or no longer meaningful to me or to my business? And I gave you some examples of types of groups we could think about. Might be a particular individual, it might be a company, it might be an association, it might be a joint venture. What are these groups that support you to achieve a meaningful purpose, that are aligned in values, where we have a shared purpose, a shared understanding, we're all on the same page, we get each other, and the work we do mutually supports each other to achieve something fantastic. Those are the groups we want. What we want to be conscious of are the groups where we have formed with those people, the individuals or the groups or the associations out of some kind of habit, because we've done it before, it's always been there, and now there's kind of a dissonance. It no longer quite works. And what we want to do is we want to pull our energy away from the groups and associations that no longer work and put our energy into the ones that coalesce our energies, where we are working towards the same thing, the same shared vision. And one of the ways I think about this in my own life, and hopefully this is useful to you, is who do I want on the battlefield with me? Would I go to war with that person? I know I've spoken about the word war before, and I'm like, oh, such a bad vibration. But if you were going into war, who would you have in your team? And I use it with friends too. I think I would be surrounded by people who I would go to war for them, and they would go to war for me. Now, in a war, you have people who have different roles. Someone is the telegraph person sending messages, another person is a frontliner, other people are resource management. So we all have different roles in that kind of emergency situation. But would you want that person, that group, that association, that organization, that network by your side when you went into battle and you really needed their support? And that helps me to navigate through relationships, because the world is filled with endless possibilities. You know, everyone wants a piece of you, particularly if you've got a very powerful business, you've got lots of opportunity to leverage. You know, people see your business and see you as an opportunity. And so you get approached, you get contacted by lots of people. Remember, you do that in return as well. To associate, let's collaborate, let's work together, let's do a joint venture, let's, do this project together, whatever it might be. And we have to have some way of working out this hexagram, what it's asking us to do, to work out what are the people and the networks and associations and companies we would go to war with, who would fight by our side from a shared point of view, from a shared sense of value and purpose. And I hope perhaps that helps you, because sometimes, as the great business sages tell us, it's what you say no to that's more important than what you say yes to. Right, so that leads us straight into the changing line, because this really emphasizes this idea. And we have the changing line in the third position, just one for this week. And this line says, the ones you are associating with, the group you are associating with, are not for you. Get out of this before you are sacrificed along with all the others. Okay, very dramatic. So in this week, in this energy and focus of holding and grouping and who we group with and who we don't group with, there's a particular attention that we are being asked to pay to a particular group. Maybe it's more than one group for you. Maybe it's a much bigger process for you of multiple groups or associations you're being challenged to get out of. But this one in particular is saying there's something in particular that's not good for you. One of these groups is not good for you and actually will cause you harm as you go along. So our task is not to get paranoid about this week, but is to open our minds and start reflecting on the groups that we surround ourselves, the associations we choose, the ones we perpetuate because they're habits, and the ones that are meaningful. And this changing line is not saying be ugly and nasty to these groups who are no longer good for you. It's not about cutting off these associations, and being cold about it. What this line is talking about is the associations you choose to be intimate with. Okay? And this line is saying that you run the risk that if you are falsely intimate with a group that is not aligned to you, that's not good for you, you miss the opportunity to align with a group that is right for you, because your energy is tied into this situation. into this group, into this association, into this commitment. So it's not about not being socially friendly. It's about being civil and sociable, but consciously at a distance and not creating false intimacy where you should not be placing it. Interesting. Okay, so our outcome hexagram for this week is hexagram 39, obstruction. Oh, really? This hexagram is also called limping. It talks about having an injury. I've spoken about this before, where you have a big boulder in your path and you're walking along your path and there's a big boulder and there's no amount of effort that you can do to shift the fact that the boulder's in the way. So this week we're going to come across some kind of obstacle in our path, an obstruction, an exhaustion, and a challenge for us to overcome. And of course, the I Ching always gives us wonderful insight on how to deal with the challenge. And the way we deal with a big boulder in the path is not to incessantly hammer away at that boulder. In other words, use our techniques and approaches we've always used to deal with obstructions and just put more brawn into it and effort into it as opposed to start engaging the mind. So we have to think differently. We have to be smart. We don't have to work harder. We have to work smarter. And we have to find a way around the obstacle. And the way that we do that is to change our perspective, get out of the habitual way of solving this particular issue, get some distance from it, and get friends to help you. Okay, so we're back to this idea of the associations and resources around us that can help us go around the obstacle. Because it's about finding a path around the obstacle, not trying to bash right through it. So we have got to ask for help this week. We have to think differently, and we have to find new and unusual ways around the problem as opposed to trying to tackle it head on alone. Because we have to accept that we are injured. The idea of limping is that there's an injury. Now, you might literally have some kind of physical injury that impedes you this week. You might have a financial injury. You might have an emotional injury. There might be a computer that falls over. Whatever it might be, is you have a limping injury, and we have to recognize you're not running on full steam. You've got a crutch, you're limping, and the way we deal with it is we work around, we find creative ways of solving problems, and we go around them and we ask for help. We engage the people and resources around us. The ones we'd go into battle with, those ones. So, very interesting week. We really are being challenged to think and pay attention and put our laser beam into our associations. And on a personal relationship, that might be friends or networks or clubs, a whole variety of ways. And on the business side, likewise, clients, associations, networks, partnerships, something in here, some of these associations, or perhaps one in particular, is no longer good for you, and get out while you can, because it can bring you a lot of challenge down the road. Okay, so good luck with the week. Remember, if you haven't yet done so, to go along to our monthly overview. You can just see the protest and revolutionary energy out in our world at this time across the globe. To say the I Ching is asking us to pay attention to revolutions, and of course the best way we can affect revolution is through our own life, the way we think, the way we engage with each other. So please go along and take a listen if you have not yet done so. Make sure you have gone and entered the giveaway for June. Runs up until the end of June. If you go to the link below this video or episode, you'll find a link, one link. Click on there and you'll find access to the latest giveaway so that we can get your question into the I Ching and see if you are the lucky winner for June. We have the May giveaways winning episode coming out next week. So keep an eye on the YouTube channel, because I only put those onto the YouTube channel, not on the podcast, to look at how the winner from May, how their question has been addressed. Also, exciting news, we have a new I Ching inspired meditation that's live on the Insight Timer app. And I felt really inspired after our special episode on embracing the new normal to create a meditation to help us. So it's inspired by the 2 hexagrams we got and the changing line. So if you've seen that episode, when you go and have a look at the meditation, you'll go, this is a meditation journey using those 2 hexagrams and the changing line we got in that episode. And of course, join us in Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for our daily I Ching stories and news and upcoming information related to the I Ching. Thank you so much for being with me, and I hope that you have a really great week and that you choose meaningful and wonderful associations coming out of this week's focus. See you soon.